And in fact, there's a naked rambler who's been trying to walk around Britain for years and has been arrested every time because of that. We already decide that it is in the public interest that people don't walk around naked.
Yeah, well,
it should be
Douglas,
possible to decide that it also is wrong for people to walk around fully veiled.
Is the individual you're talking about walk around naked because of religious beliefs?
Well, he's a naturist, which is about as ridiculous. Hang on. He's a naturist, and he believes in his right to walk around naked. That is no more ridiculous for an outsider than walking around covered in a veil because you believe in the word of Muhammad. No more ridiculous.
I don't agree with you. Anne, you wanted to, I know you have something to say, Anne Elizabeth. Go ahead.
I'm flabbergasted by this, but basically I will say that we are talking about values that have been recognized by the United Nations, by the Charter of Human Rights, and if you want to sort of speak against equality between men and women, then you are basically turning your back on what 190 nations have formally agreed to.
I think it's countries like France that are in an identity crisis right now. Sarkozy is using this issue where he doesn't have much traction on most issues at all in his country, and he's going on this issue here because he can get support here. I think in many ways it's very, very cheap. It plays upon racism. It does play upon Islamophobia.
Ask yourself why he gets traction on this.
All politics is local and here and now, okay? Why he suddenly just picked up on this and ran with it, it's very, very suspicious to me.
He hasn't. We passed that bill in 2004 about the hijab. We are fairly consistent, and the hijab bill was so successful that only 13 girls were taken out of state schools in France because of that bill, and everybody else, including the huge majority of French Muslims, have accepted it.
If you go down the path that you want to go down, these women in burqas will grow in numbers because you will never, ever see them. They will just multiply behind the doors.
The number of women in hijabs has decreased,
what you would want to do would make the
invalid.
problem even worse when it's not even a big problem right now. Don't you think? Logically speaking.
It is a big problem right now.
Well, the numbers
right
don't show it. The numbers show hysteria. Hysteria. Really, less than 1% of 5 million people, less than half of 1%.
Which is terrorist preachers that preach basically terrorism and assassination of minorities, other minorities. We have an extremist problem in France.
Yeah, and the 9/11, the people that perpetrated 9/11 were not even fundamentalists at all, okay? At all. You guys make this connection all the time. They were not. They were more secular than most. Oh, come on. Then you guys don't even know the history of the people of the hijackers. The majority of the hijackers.
Okay. How can you keep speaking, let alone hosting a show, and know so little? How can you know so little and keep on talking? The 9/11 hijackers weren't fundamentalists?
Not in the way that you're talking about the burqa. No way.
Well, I haven't
look at where they came from. This was more of a political act to commit terrorism. It wasn't out of religious belief. You should get to know your history of the people that attacked the Twin Towers. It's not babble at all.
What babble? You are trying to... I don't know where on earth you're coming from on this. No serious person can even keep on saying the nonsense you're coming out with.
Well, if you read the letters that they left, most Muslims wouldn't do that. Read the letters that they wrote. They wrote to their girlfriends. They didn't invoke religious law. I mean, learn something about Islam before you say somebody's talking babble, okay? That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It strikes me that you're speaking from a position of unique ignorance. I don't know, first of all, why it is you keep on using this term Islamophobia to attack all people who are criticizing fundamentalism. It's a quite cheap way to try to avoid an argument. And then you try to claim that people who fly planes into Twin Towers and the Pentagon and so on and blow up people in my city for the crime of going on the subway are not fundamentalists. Just read the tracts of their leaders.
They may be fundamentalists in the fact that they wanted to create terror, but not necessarily out of religion if you know the history of each one of those attackers. That's not true at all. That is very ignorant. Right, all right, let's go to Paris because we're running out of time. Let's go to Paris because we're... I'm sorry, Douglas.
Any of the major texts on this and you'll learn.
I've learned, I know probably more than you'll ever forget. Go ahead.
Well, I wish you'd tried to show it.
Okay, Anne.
I wish you'd tried to show it.
Anne Elizabeth, go ahead.
I wasn't saying much, except that, of course, this is complete piffle, because anybody who's learned about Al-Qaeda, who's listened to bin Laden tapes, and I have, who's read about the theory of Al-Qaeda, knows that it is a completely fundamentalist group based on extremist Salafism. So it is absolutely ridiculous and nonsensical. Right. Now, the French happen to know a great deal about Islamic fundamentalism because we've been the hinterland of the Algerian civil war for 20 years. And so we know about the Islamists who killed about 200,000 people in Algeria quietly without people talking too much about it. This is something that unfortunately we have experience with, and we do not want to see it develop. And the idea that this is not driven by this small minority of extremists who have a completely totalitarian vision of Islam is ridiculous. I don't know where you're coming about, except that you probably think that it's better television to have us at each other's throats.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that certainly is far more entertaining. I want to thank you both today for being on the program, Douglas Murray and Anne-Elizabeth Moutet. And thanks to our viewers for watching us here on RT. See you next time. And remember, crosstalk rules.